Horton hatches the egg, Wacky Wednesday, and hooray! Read to you by Autumn, Aspen, and Nora.
Hello, my name is Autumn, and today I'm reading Horton Hatches the Egg. Sighed Maisie, a lazy bird hatching an egg. I'm tired, I am bored, and I have kinks in my leg from just sitting here day after day. It's work. How I hate it. I'd much rather play. I'd take a vacation, fly off for the rest. If I could find someone to stay on my nest. If I could find someone, I'd fly away, free. Then Horton, the elephant, passes by her tree. "Hello," called the lazy bird, smiling her best. "I've nothing to do, and I do need a rest. Would you like to sit on the egg in my nest?" The elephant laughed. "Why, of all silly things, I haven't feathers, I haven't wings. Me on your egg? Ma'am, I'm so unseen." "Tut, tut," answered Maisie. "I know you're not small, but I'm sure you can do it. No trouble at all. Just sit on it softly. You're gentle and kind. Come, be a good fellow. I know you won't mind." "I can't," said the elephant. "Please," begged the bird. "I won't be gone long, sir. I give you my word. I'll hurry right back. Why, I'll never be missed." "Well, very well then," said the elephant. "Since you insist. You want a vacation? Go fly off and take it. I'll sit on your egg. I'll try not to break it. I'll stay and be faithful. I mean what I say." "Toodly-doo," sang out Maisie, and fluttered away. The first thing to do," murmured Horton. "Let's see. The first thing to do is to prop up in this nest and make it much stronger. That has to be done. Before I get on it, I must weigh a ton." Then carefully, tenderly, gently he crept up the tuck to the nest where the little egg slept. Then Horton the elephant smiled. "Now that's that." He sat, and he sat, and he sat, and he sat. And he sat all that day, and he kept the egg warm, and he sat all night through a terrible storm. It poured and it lightened, it thundered and rumbled. "This isn't much fun," the poor elephant grumbled. "I wish she'd come back, 'cause I'm cold and wet. I hope that Maisie bird doesn't forget." But Maisie, by this time, was far beyond reach, enjoying the sunshine way off in Palm Beach, and having such fun, such a wonderful rest, decided she'd never go back to her nest. So Horton kept sitting there, day after day, and soon it was autumn. The leaves blew away, and then came winter. The snow and the sleet, the icicles hung from his trunk and his feet. But Horton kept sitting, and said with a sneeze, "I'll stay on this egg, and I won't let it freeze. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful. 100%. So poor Horton sat there the whole winter through, and then came springtime, with troubles anew. His friends gathered around, and they shouted with glee, "Look, Horton the elephant up in a tree!" They taunted, they teased him, they yelled, "How bizarre! Old Horton the elephant thinks he's a bird." They laughed and they laughed, then they all ran away, and Horton was lonely. He wanted to play. And he sat on the egg and continued to say, "I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%. No matter what happens, this egg must be tended. But poor Horton's troubles are far, far from end. For a while, Horton sat there, so faithful, so kind. 3 hunters came sneaking up so softly behind. Oh no! He heard the men's footsteps. He turned with a start. 3 rifles were aiming right straight up at his heart. Did he run? He did not. Horton stayed on the nest. He held his head high, and he threw out his chest. He looked at the hunters, as much as to say, "Shoot if you must, but I won't run away. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant is faithful, 100%. But the men didn't shoot, much to Horton's surprise. They dropped their 3 guns. They stared with weird eyes. "Look!" they all shouted. "Can such a thing be? An elephant, sitting on top of a tree. It's strange, it's amazing, it's wonderful, it's new. Don't shoot him. We'll catch him. That's just what we'll do. Let's take him alive. Why, he's terribly funny. We'll sell him back home to the circus. For money." And the first thing he knew, they had built a big wagon with ropes on the front of the pullers to drag along. They dug up his tree and they put it inside, with Horton so sad that he practically cried. "We're off!" shouted one man, and off they all went, with Horton unhappy, 100%. Up out of the jungle, up in the sky, up over the mountains, 10,000 feet high. Then down the mountains, and down to the sea, went the cart with the elephant, egg, nest, and tree. Then out of the wagon, and onto a ship, out over the ocean, and oh, what a trip! Rolling and tossing and splashing with the spray, and Horton said after day, "I meant what I said what I meant, but oh, I am seasick, 100%. After bobbing around for 2 weeks like a crook, they landed at last in a town of New York. "All ashore!" shouted one man, and down with the lurch went Horton the elephant, still on his perch. Tied onto a board that could just scarcely hold him, bump! Horton landed, and then the men sold them. Sold to a circus! Then week after week, They showed him to people at 10 cents a peek. They took him to Boston, to Kamala Zoo, Chicago, Weehawken, Washington too, to Dayton, Ohio, St. Paul's, Minnesota, to Wichita, Kansas, to Drake, North Dakota. And everywhere thousands of folks flocked to see and laugh at the elephant up in a tree. Poor Horton grew sadder the farther he went, and he said as he sat in the hot, noisy tent, "I meant what I said, and said what I meant. An elephant is faithful, 100%. Then, one day, the circus show appeared to reach a town way down south, not so far from Palm Beach, and dawningly along way up high in the sky, who, of all people, should chance to fly by? But that old good-for-nothing bird ran away Maisie, still on vacation and still just as lazy. And spying the flags and the tents just below, she sang out, "What fun! Why, I'll go to the show." And she swooped from the clouds through the open tent door. "Good gracious," gasped Maisie, "I've seen you before." Poor Horton looked up with his face white as chalk. He started to speak, but before he could talk, there rang out this noise, ear-splitting squeaks, from the egg that he sat on for 51 weeks. A thumping, a bumping, a wild alive scratch. "My egg!" shouted Horton. "My egg! Why, it's hatching!" "But it's mine!" screeched the bird when she heard the egg crack. The work was all done. Now she wanted it back. "It's my egg!" she sputtered. "You stole it from me! Get off of my nest and get out of my tree!" Poor Horton backed down with a sad, heavy heart. But at that very instant, the egg burst apart, and out of the pieces of red and white shell, from the egg that he sat on so long and so well, Horton the elephant saw something whiz. It had ears, and a tail, and a trunk just like his. And the people came shouting, "What's all this about?" They looked, and they stared, with their eyes popping out. Then they cheered, and they cheered, and they cheered more and more. They'd never seen anything like it before. "My goodness! My gracious!" they shouted. "My word! It's something brand new! It's an elephant bird! And it should be like that, because Horton was faithful, and he sat and he sat. He meant what he said, and he said what he meant." And they sent him home, happy, 100%.
Wacky Wednesday by Dr. Seuss. It all began with that shoe on the wall. A shoe on a wall shouldn't be there at all. I looked out the window and I said, "Gee, more things were wacky," and I saw 3. I went down the hall and I said, "Hey, 3 more things were wacky today." In the bathroom, more. In the bathroom, 4. I began to dress. Then I said, "Wow, 4 more things were wacky now." I looked in the kitchen. I said, "By cracky, 5 more things are very wacky." I was late for school. I started along, and I saw that 6 more things were wrong. And then 7 more. And the Sutherland sisters, they looked wacky too. They said, "Nothing is wacky around here but you." I ran into school. I yelled to Miss Bass, "Look, 9 things are wacky right here in your class." I went out the school door. Things were worse than before. I couldn't believe it. 10 wacky things more. Then I counted 11. Then 12 worse things. I got scared and I ran. I ran and knocked over Patrolman McGann. "I'm sorry, Patrolman, that's all I could say." "Don't be sorry," he smiled. "It's that kind of day. But be glad, Wacky Wednesday will soon go away." "Only 20 things more will be wacky," he said. "Just find them and then you can go back to bed." Wacky Wednesday was gone when I counted them all, and I even got rid of that shoe on the wall.
Hi guys, I'm Nora, and today I'm going to be reading you one of my favorite Dr. Seuss books, Hooray for Diffin' Doofer Day. I've always lived in Dinkerville. My friends all live here too. We go to Diffin' Doofer school. We're happy that we do. Our school is at the corner of Dink Zooper and Dink Zot. It looks like any other school, but we suspect it's not. I think we're learning lots of things not taught at other schools. Our teachers are remarkable. They make up their own rules. Miss Bobble teaches listening, Miss Wobble teaches smelling, Miss Fribble teaches laughing, and Miss Quibble teaches yelling. Miss Twining teaches tying knots and handkerchiefs and noodles, and how to tell chrysanthemums from miniature poodles. Miss Vining teaches all the ways a pigeon may be peppered, and how to put a saddle on a lizard or a leopard. My teacher is Miss Bonkers. She's as bouncy as a flea. I'm not certain what she teaches, but I'm glad she teaches me. Look, look, she chirps. I'll show you how to tell a cactus from a cow, and then I shall instruct you why a hippo cannot hope to fly. She even teaches frogs to dance and pigs to put on underpants. One day she taught a duck to sing. Miss Bonkers teaches everything. Of all the teachers in our school, I like Miss Bonkers best. Our teachers are all different, but she's differenter than the rest. We also have a principal. His name is Mr. Lowe. He is the very saddest man that any of us know. He mumbles, "Are they learning this and that and such and such?" His face is wrinkled as a prune from worrying so much. He breaks a lot of pencil points from pushing down too hard, and many dogs start barking as he mopes around the yard. We think he wears false eyebrows. In fact, we're sure of it, so. We've heard he takes them off at night. I guess we'll never know. But we know he likes Miss Bonkers. He treats her like a queen. He's always there to watch her when she's on her trampoline. There are many other people who make Diffin' Doofer run. They are utterly amazing. I love every single one. Our Miss Clot knows what to do when we've got snuffles or the flu. One day I had a splinter, so she bandaged me from head to toe. Mr. Plunger, our custodian, has fashioned a machine, a super zuper flooper do. It keeps the whole school clean. Our music teacher, Mrs. Fox, makes bagpipes out of straws and socks. Our art instructor, Mr. Breeze, paints pictures hanging by his knees. In science class with Mr. Katz, we learn to build robotic rats. In gym, we watch as Mr. B hoists elephants into the air. Miss Luna is our librarian. She hides behind the shelves and often cries out louder when we're reading to ourselves. We have 3 cooks, all named McMunch, who merrily prepare our lunch. They make us hot dogs, beans, and fries, plus things we do not recognize. And as they cook, they sing the song, not too short and not too long. Roast and toast and slice and dice. Cooking lunch is oh so nice. We were eating their concoctions, telling jokes and making noise, when Mr. Lowe appeared and howled, "Attention, girls and boys!" He began to fuss and fidget, scratch and mutter, sneeze and cough. He shook his head so hard we thought his eyebrows would come off. He wrung his hands, he cleared his throat, he shed a single tear, then sobbed, "I have something to announce, and that is why I'm here. All schools for miles and miles around must take a special test to see who's learned such and such, to see whose school's the best. If our small school does not do well, then it will be torn down, and you will have to go to school in dreary Flobbertown." "Not Flobbertown," we shouted, and we shuddered at the name. For everyone in Flobbertown does everything the same. It's miserable in Flobbertown. They just dress in just one style. They sing one song, they never dance, they march in single file. They do not have a playground, and they do not have a park. Their lunches have no taste at all. Their dogs are scared to bark. Miss Bonkers rose. Don't fret, she said. You've learned the things you need to pass the test and many more. I'm certain you'll succeed. We've taught you that the earth is round, that red and white make pink, that something else that matters more. We've taught you how to think. I hope you're right, sighed Mr. Lowe. He shed another tear. The test is in 10 minutes, and you're taking it right here. We sat in shock and disbelief. Oh no, we moaned, oh no. We were even more unhappy than unhappy, Mr. Lowe. But then the test was handed out. Yahoo! We yelled, Yahoo! For it was filled with all the things that we all knew we knew. There were questions about noodles, about poodles, frogs, and yelling, about listening and laughing, and chrysanthemums and smelling. There were questions about other things that we'd never seen or heard, and yet we somehow answered them, enjoying every word. 1 week later, after recess, Mr. Lowe meandered in. We'd never seen him smile before, but now he wore a grin. He soon began to giggle, then his giggle grew by half, and then it really happened. Mr. Lowe began to laugh. You've saved our school, you've saved our school, he jubilantly roared. We got the very highest score, he wrote it on the board. Miss Bonkers did some cartwheels till her face turned cherry red. She bounded up to Mr. Lowe and kissed him on the head. Hooray, hooray, she shouted. I'm so proud I cannot speak. So she did another cartwheel, and she pecked him on the cheek. Ahem, ahem, coughed Mr. Lowe. You all deserve a bow, and thus I declare a holiday. It starts exactly now. Because you've done so splendidly in every sort of way, this day forever shall be known as Diffin-Doofer Day. And furthermore, I promise, I won't ever wear a frown, for now I know we'll never go to dreary Flobbertown. Then we held a celebration. There was pizza, milk, and cake. Like everyone, I ate too much and got a bellyache. We laughed and whooped and hollered the entire school day long. Then we all sang triumphantly the Diffin-Doofer song. We love you, Diffin-Doofer School. We definitely do. There surely is no other school that's anything like you. You're gribulous, you're grobulous. Each day we love you more. You're the school we treasure and unceasingly adore. Oh, finest school in Dinkerville, the only one as well. We love you, Diffin-Doofer School, much more than we can tell. You are so Diffin-Dooferish. It gives us joy to say, 3 cheers for Diffin-Doofer School. Hooray, hooray, hooray! And that's all. Thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed Dr. Seuss's Hooray for Diffin-Doofer Day.